So welcome back. We're going to get into fractions a little bit more detailed. It's just going to get into our, I guess we'll call these about lesson 5A. Meaning of fractions, one of the helpful tools is sometimes just draw pictures. Like I'm a lot of times circles, or I'm more of a rectangular guy, so I draw rectangles. Also, don't forget some just basic vocabulary. A lot of times with fraction we have this part over whole concept, or sometimes you'll commonly hear the word numerator over denominator. Numerator is the top number, denominator is that bottom number, where numerator kind of implies the number of pieces selected, denominator kind of implies total number of pieces. That kind of defines the fraction. So if I look at 3/4 as a drawing, this represents a whole. And again, in this case, this fraction is going to be less than a whole. So it's going to be actually less than 1. Because what I'm going to do is cut this whole into 4 pieces. So if I cut it in half, and then cut each half in half, that gives me 4 equal pieces. And my drawing's not the best, but those have to be, in theory, equal shapes. Otherwise, you're not making fractions. So I have 3/4, and then this says to shade 3 of them. So the whole in this case would be the 4 pieces. The part would be the 3 that I shaded. Again, the numerator would be the 3. The denominator represents the 4. So total number of pieces selected was 3. The total number of pieces altogether was 4. So 3/4 can be modeled like this. So if you look at this, another way to look at this is you could say that's 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. And we've also learned that repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication. So I could say it's also 3/1/4. But a lot of times we'll just shortcut this and say, hey, this is 3/4. But 3/4 actually means 3/1/4. So if I look at this next example, this means 5/3. So in theory then, this would mean 5/1/3. In other words, that would be 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. We also learned that 5/3 or 5/1/3, we also know that for every 3/3, 3/3 would make a whole. So this would actually be 1 2/3. So it's going to be 1 2/3. So notice how this fraction is actually more than 1. When it's more than 1, this fraction is referred to as improper. So this would be an example of an improper fraction because my answer is more than 1. Any fraction that's more than 1 is referred to as an improper fraction. There's also a shortcut. If I want to change an improper fraction to this notation, what I can do is divide it. So we call it the rain game. So the 5 is my numerator. It goes in the garage. So 3 goes into 5 one time. And I'm left with 2 over. So 1 2/3. 1 2/3. So I can kind of go around the world with that. So 3 goes into 5 one time. Remainder is 2. 1 2/3. So if I look at 2 3/5, 2 3/5 means 2 wholes looks like 1 plus 1, and then we also have 3/5. But we know that since we're dealing with fifths, I could also say this is a 5/5 plus 5/5 plus 3/5. So if we look here, if I have 5/5 plus 5/5 plus 3/5, we have altogether 13/5. So 2 3/5 is the same thing as 13/5. So 2 3/5 is considered a mixed number. So a mixed number is when you have that whole number next to that fraction. And again, 2 3/5 is also the same thing as 13/5. So in this form, we call it a mixed number. In this form, it's called an improper fraction. And notice that if I want to do a shortcut of 2 3/5, I can go 5 times 2, add 3. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 then gives me my by 13/5. And that is my shortcut. Stay tuned. Make a list of what it's